Do you know what a nebula is? Well, today is your lucky day. We are going to take you on a magical journey to see nebulas. Come along. Have people actually seen a nebula? Well, I have 3 important people that have seen a nebula. The first person is Galileo Galilei. Although his telescope wasn't powerful enough to distinguish nebulas in detail, his observations of the Milky Way revealed that what looked like a cloud of light was actually made of countless stars, which to me is quite amazing because I would love to see a nebula. The next person is Charles Messier. He initially compiled the list to avoid confusing these fuzzy objects with comets. His catalogue, known as the Messier Catalogue, includes famous nebulas like the Crab Nebula and the Orion Nebula. The next person, or should I say modern technology that has seen nebulas, is modern observation. So they use the Hubble Space Telescope, which was launched in the 1990s, and this has provided us, human beings, with some of the most amazing images of nebulas. For example, the pillars of creation. So where did the word nebula come from, or should I say name? The term nebula comes from the Latin word nebula, which means cloud or mist. In ancient times, before the invention of telescope, astronomers noticed faint cloud-like patches in the night sky, and they didn't know exactly what it was. It didn't appear to be stars or planets. These were mysterious objects, which then they created the name nebulae because they looked like fuzzy clouds. Today, the word nebula refers specifically to clouds of gas and dust in space, such as those where stars are born, like the Orion Nebula, or the remnants of the dead or dying stars. Now that we have gone through some important facts about nebulas, come with us and we can make our very own nebulas in some glass jars. Hope you like it. Hi, my name is
Angelina.
And my name is Cassandra, and today we're going to make a nebula. So, first we have our...
No, let me do it.
Okay, go.
Cotton. First, we need to put this much of cotton.
A nebula is a cloud of gas and dust in space, a gigantic of particles in a distant place,
making shapes that fascinate.
Created from an explosion of a dying star. You can never see it clearly with the naked eye.
It's just too far. The word nebula is Latin for cloud, not like the ones on Earth you see floating around, made of water vapor, because a nebula is made of interstellar dust and gas and is found in outer space.
So how is a nebula formed?
Some are made when a star dies, others where a star is born. But either way it goes, there's a whole lot of matter being shifted and scattered and thrown out and splattered.
So how long does a nebula live?
Their lifespan can last up to 4 million years, and they can be millions of light years wide, splashing out in space like interstellar tie-dye. And they don't have much mass. A nebula the size of planet Earth would probably weigh about as much as a cat or a dog, something relatively small, because dust floating in space doesn't weigh that much at all.
When it's more than one nebula, you would say nebulate. And that's your tip for the day.
A nebula is a cloud of gas and dust in space, a gigantic bunch of particles in a distant place,
Making shapes that fascinate.
created from an explosion of a dying star. You can never see it clearly with the naked eye.
It's just too far.
Okay, kids, we wanted to name all of the nebulae in our galaxy, but there's over 3,000 of those beauties. So instead, we're gonna name these.
Crab Nebula, Butterfly Nebula, Horsehead Nebula, Eagle Nebula, Ring Nebula, Cat's Eye Nebula, Orion Nebula, Felix Nebula, Tarantula Nebula,
Square Nebula.
Now, what we're going
Nebula Nebula. Waterfall Nebula. UCAM Nebula. Red Square Nebula. Cartwheel Nebula.
That's the end of the nebula song. You can take a journey there, but it's really long. With a telescope, you can see them up high in the night sky.
And let's just shake it.
Oh, that looks pretty cool. Wait. It just needs to be...
No.
How are nebulas used in the real world? So the first way how nebulas are used in the real world is star formation. So nebulas are regions where stars are born. Studying them helps scientists understand how stars, solar systems, and galaxies form and evolve. The next one is data processing. The techniques developed to process astronomical data from nebulas, including signal processing and pattern recognition, have application in fields like medical diagnostics, example MRI and CT scans. The next one is STEM education. So nebulas are featured in science curricula, helping to inspire future scientists, engineers, and astronomers. The study of space phenomena encourages critical thinking, problem solving, and an appreciation for scientific inquiry in education.
So what are the importance of nebulas? Nebulas are the birth and death place of stars. When stars explode, most of the time they will turn into new nebulas. Due to gravitational forces, they form new stars. Let's take a trip over to the Star Hospital. I think some new baby stars are about to be born. This is the life cycle of a star. All stars begin as a stellar nebula, and as I mentioned before, a bunch of gravity, when it comes together, can form a star. When a star is born, it goes through one of two doors. It either becomes an average star or a massive star. Let's follow the average star pathway first. The average star, after a few billion years, will turn into a red giant. Stars will spend at least 80% of their life cycle in this phase. After that, they'll turn into a planetary nebula and then a white dwarf. A massive star pathway turns into a red supergiant, a very, very large star. And then, when it loses energy, it will turn supernova, which is a giant explosion that takes up large portions of space. This results in the star either turning into a neutron star or a black hole. So what does this mean for our sun? Our sun is currently estimated to be about 4.6 billion years old, the Earth being 4.5 billion years old. The sun still has a remaining 4.6 to 5.5 billion years left in its life cycle and is in or about to be in its red giant phase, as I mentioned before. The sun is a very stable star and has no chance of posing a risk to Earth at any present time. A planetary nebula is what happens when a star starts to begin to shed its outer atmosphere towards the end of its life cycle. As you can see here, this photo was taken by my uncle, Damian Marley. He does astrophotography. This nebula is called a spare tire nebula, as you can see by the roundness of the nebula around the star. Red supergiants are very, very large stars. As you can see in this diagram, that little speck that you cannot see in the original diagram is the size of our sun, obviously much larger than Earth. Canis Majoris is one of the biggest stars that we know of. Look at that size difference. The star is about 3,800 light years away from Earth, so it would take around 800 years for the sun's rays to reach that star if it could. Supernovas is the result of a large star losing its energy. It happens when a star is unable to support itself or its core anymore. This star here is a supernova remnant W949b. It is about 1,000 years old and is 26,000 light years from Earth. Black holes and neutron stars is the results of a supernova. Black holes are very large portions of space that are essentially dark matter. The photograph you can see was first taken in 2021 and is the only known picture of a black hole in human history. There's different types of neutron stars. There's a magnetic star, a pulsar star, or a mixture of both. There is no images of neutron stars, but scientists are aware that they exist. We are just unable to gain photographic evidence of them yet. But as you can see, it took many, many years to get a picture of a black hole.